Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It's your host, Denise Salcedo. And today we are here to chat about the September 20th edition of WWE NXT 2.0. And here's what's going on. As you guys can tell, my voice is complete and utter crap right now. Unfortunately, for those of you who were here on my Friday show, you noticed that my voice started leaving Friday during this show. And I had to travel to Texas and do commentary. Along the way, I don't know what the hell happened. I think I had some sort of like breakdown, like I don't know what happened, where I lost all my voice doing commentary, and then I developed a cough, and I think I even got a cold. I do not have COVID. I got tested twice, and so then like I've literally just been out here without like the best voice the last couple of days. So I've had nothing but to be able to I have to pull through because I have a lot of work to do. So I knew that I could not host this 1 hour show by myself today. So ladies and gentlemen, making his F4W online debut, my good friend Coale Henderson. Coale, thank you so much for stepping in today as a co-host.
Well, you call for the hot tag, Denise. I gotta come through for the hot tag. And even though I'm not in the regular setup, I'm on vacation, I'm here with the folks. But when Denise comes calling, you got to show up. So I appreciate you for having me on the show. This is amazing. And hopefully everyone listening, thanks for letting me, say some things about WWE NXT. And you sound so much better. So hopefully you're on the mend. Hopefully you're on the mend. There. Hey, you're human like the rest of us, Denise. You're just working too hard. So,
and you know what's funny too, Coale, is that I feel like you and I, because you live in LA now, you just moved to LA, and we've been wanting to do a show together. And we're like, oh yeah, eventually we'll get to it, whatever, right? And the second you leave to Massachusetts to visit your family, I come calling, and I was like, bro, I need you on the show today.
My timing is impeccable. What can I say? But you know what? I'm glad we got to make this work. Hopefully, this is the first time we're doing this together. The dynamic debut here. Hopefully, this won't be the last time.
Exactly. Alrighty. Well, for everyone here on today's stream to chat NXT 2.0, I'm still calling it NXT 2.0. I feel like it's not officially WWE NXT until next week. I'm not even really too sure anymore.
The logo said NXT, but all the graphics were all in the rainbow color. So you can tell they're in a little bit of that weird kind of in-between phase. They're going through something. I don't know what it is.
They're like slowly morphing into what they're trying to become. And it doesn't match because right now they're using the black, gold, and white logo, and it's not matching with like all of the other colorful stuff. I was thinking like, why not bring in that logo until you got everything else? Like it just doesn't match. It's like wearing black and brown together. It doesn't match.
Don't they have those graphics from the first time they did black and yellow? It's not like this is a new color scheme, right? Like, did they just discard them? Did someone put it in the editors put it in the recycle bin and go, oh no, I deleted my trash. I got a problem.
It's all gone.
It's all gone.
Only thing
Trips,
left is
it's
the
all
PNG
gone.
images on Google.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Alrighty. Well, for those of you guys watching the show, thank you guys so much for being here. As always, we will be pulling from the chat. I will be reading your guys' comments as we go throughout the show. As always, if you do want to send in a super chat, please do. They help out the show very, very much. They get your comment, question, or statement read on here. And on top of that, you also help support the show. We got our first one here from my good friend Steven, who's just been like tremendous. It says, praying your voice gets better. It's kind of better than it was last night, but it's still pulling through, man. It really sucks.
You're on the right track.
I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. I'm trying to. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and get right into this. I want to kick things off, Coale, by asking you how you felt overall about today's show.
Today's show was kind of weird. It felt like it was strangely more up tempo than what we've seen the past few weeks. A lot of segments where someone comes out to talk and then someone's like, "Hey, I want to fight right now. You want to fight?" And with that being said, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot of matches like going into this program, and then we ended with a lot more matches, but we got off to a very strange note, which we'll talk about. There's a lot to talk about and unpack there. But by the end of the show, I thought the main event was excellent. So I can't wait to talk about that. But there's a lot of stuff in between that we're going to be weeding through that is well, I'm interested to see what you have to say about it too.
It's like for me, I've been noticing like there's been some good episodes of NXT, whatever, right? But the last couple of weeks, I feel like I've been liking certain portions from the show, and then there's some other there's some good stuff. And one of the good stuff, like the one good thing that we saw in today's show, was that main event, because that main event absolutely delivered, and I think most of us were expecting for it to deliver. But then there's a bunch of other stuff that happened on the show where I'm like, why? I actually did not like today's episode of NXT. I kind of hated it. I thought it was awful. And I'm going to talk more about that. And please do not include the main event in my analysis of today's show being awful. Everything, like the main event was great, but everything else to me was like 2 thumbs down. And we're going to go ahead and kick it off with that really, really weird announcement. So, last week's episode of NXT 2.0, we essentially celebrated the 1-year anniversary, and the show ended with Solo Sakoa holding up the NXT North American Championship. And for the most part, we're all thinking, okay, fine. A lot of people did not like that. I was one of them that I thought, I don't really like that they're going this direction, because personally, I just didn't feel like Solo Sikoa should have been NXT North American Champion. I was totally cool with Carmelo Hayes still being NXT North American Champion, but I thought, okay, fine. He's clearly going to be part of the bloodline, and it's part of the bloodline. He's going to be on the main roster. He defended the title on the Smackdown that I was at. Okay, fine, whatever. But then we kick off today's show with Shawn Michaels basically making an announcement that Solo Sikoa has to forfeit the NXT North American Championship. And right off of that, you're thinking, what the hell? So not only does he have to forfeit the championship, and the reason for this, Shawn Michaels says, is because Solo Sikoa was not supposed to be in that match. If you guys remember, it was supposed to be Wesley. He was the one that was voted on, but due to the attack, he was not able to actually compete. So Solo Sikoa came in, he ended up winning the match. He won the title, defended the title, and then apparently it doesn't count. So he has to vacate the title. So now Shawn Michaels makes an additional announcement that instead, in 6 weeks from now at Halloween Havoc, we are going to be seeing a Fatal 5-Way, which already includes Carmelo Hayes, and we're going to have a couple of qualifying matches to basically determine the 4 other guys to become the new NXT North American Champion. So yes, for the next 6 weeks, that title will be vacated. So Cole, let's start off with, what the hell did you think of this announcement that Shawn Michaels made?
What did we watch? What just happened in the last 2 weeks? We got it. We got a belt going to Solo Sikoa. We get a rebrand. We were talking about the graphics earlier, and that is how this episode felt, by the way, of it's in between gold and all the rainbow stuff. And this just felt like a piece of it, of kind of trying to figure out what the identity is of NXT going forward. And we're already off to a weird start where regardless of Solo Sikoa getting the belt off Carmelo Hayes, regardless of kind of how we thought that went, I agree with you. I think Carmelo Hayes has been a tremendous North American champion, and he's been such a star with that belt. I get Solo Sikoa bringing him and having him have gold with the bloodline, but you did it for a photo op is kind of now what it's feeling like, because and we don't recognize the reign, but he defended it at the Smackdown that you were at, and it was in California. So what are we doing? Why did any of this have to happen? And then on top of that, if that is the case of, that's something that you want to do, have Solo Sikoa have a short reign, it's a wrestling show. do it in a wrestling way. Why do we have to have him vacate the title? And in a very unbloodline-esque character move, Solo Sikoa just goes like, yeah, I mean, I just had like some unfinished business. I'm cool with that. Like you're cool with just like Shawn Michaels taking his belt off of you that you didn't get. You spent this whole time in NXT where you were like, you missed, like you didn't get your opportunity and finally you got it and now you get it and you go, okay, cool. I'm all right with it. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't. And that's the thing that you mentioned too. They could have come up with another way. Okay, well, first and foremost, if they were going to, if they already knew, and they did because this show was taped. So that makes it even more weirder.
Wait, oh God.
Okay, but the point is, okay, here's the point. Okay, so with that being said, why take off the championship off of Carmelo Hayes? They should have just kept it on him. And like, dude, it's not even like Carmelo Hayes to me is a good champion. He is a great champion for this era. He's been a phenomenal talent. He's been a standout talent. So why the hell would you basically make him look like such a freaking like loser and have him not only lose the title, but then also just like for it not to matter? Like it should have mattered. Like I think they should have just kept the title on Carmelo Hayes, given him a solid win over Solo Sikoa. I get it. They're pushing Solo Sikoa right now. I get it. But this is like if Solo Sikoa was going to go off to Raw and SmackDown, then you let Carmelo Hayes, maybe get a leg up on Solo Sikoa so that he could, if he's going to remain and he's going to be champion, then, he has a leg up on all of it. So there was really no reason, in my opinion. I think it hurt. Not only did it hurt the NXT North American Championship, but it also hurt Carmelo Hayes. And we're going to talk more about Carmelo Hayes because there was more that was done later tonight that I was not a fan of. And I'll tell you that right now. But anyways, it just feels to me like, okay, so that's the first thing. They should have just kept the title on Carmelo Hayes. The other thing is, all right, let's say we were going to do it this way and Solo Sikoa had to forfeit the title or they had to get the title off of him. Then why not? I would have even taken a rematch. Honestly, even a rematch I would have taken.
Anything. Like just anything wrestling. I hate when it's like we just pull the title off someone and there's no injury. He's not injured. He's literally the reason that they gave was he is on Raw and SmackDown, which when you look at some of the other people that are on the NXT roster who are in this weird in-between flux kind of state, that doesn't make any sense either. So I think you have a chance to keep Carmelo Hayes, who's red hot. I mean, the guy has had a string of matches. He's coming off a match with Ricochet at Worlds Collide. That was incredible. Like the guy clearly is one of your top performers. Why devalue him and your championship at the same time? It is a lose-lose situation. I don't get it. There's a lot. I think, and that was like the internet, Twitter was exploding when this was all going on and everyone just being like, what now? Wait, you did this to Carmelo Hayes? You did this to Solo Sikoa? Because these are two guys that people are really rooting for and want to see succeed. And I don't think it really helped either of them. It just makes Solo look foolish and silly. And it makes Carmelo Hayes look weak, which is like, why, like if it's a champion that doesn't have that kind of momentum, you can get away with this. This is a guy who had a ton of momentum. And yeah, we'll get to what happens later in the show. Cause by God, what are we doing with Carmelo Hayes?
Oh, man. And here's the thing, too. We are going to have the qualifiers. We did have one qualified match, which we'll talk about in just a second. But before we get to that, we got a super chat here from Sheldon Jackson. Thank you so much to Sheldon, who says, so glad to see Dragunov back and putting him in the NXT title picture immediately, considering he never lost the NXT UK title, vacating due to injury. Let me tell you that we've had a lot of people that, have made returns or they've jumped over from NXT UK to NXT. And I've been like, cool, thumbs up, right? I had like a freaking glorious time when Ilya Dragunov came out, and we'll talk more about this later. But seriously, I felt so freaking stoked at the end of NXT today that because here's the thing, like I'm a little bit worried right now about the future of NXT 2.0. I feel we got too excited too excited when they announced that we were going to, not announced, but when they showed the NXT 2.0 colorful logo morph into this new NXT black, white, and gold logo. And I think immediately a lot of people thought, okay, things are really going to change like a lot. And part of me was kind of thinking like, okay, I don't really think like, let's be realistic. It's not going to change that much. But I was thinking of, we talked about this on the last week's show. I was thinking of things that I want to see incorporated from NXT 2.0, as well as the black and gold brand into the NXT 3.0 or 4.0 at this point. But, but the point is that I just like, personally, I'm kind of getting a little bit where I maybe lost a little bit of hope. And I don't know where that's at. I think the reason for that was that I didn't think today's show was that great. And so I lost hope. But then with this main event and with Ilya Dragunov coming out, it kind of gave me a little bit of hope for this new version of NXT that we're moving into. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely. I think it is going through an identity crisis right now. Literally, figuratively, we don't want it to turn into NXT WTF. We do not want that whatsoever. And, I think what made the black and gold brand so special is a lot of what another company's wrestling program is doing, bringing a lot of the independent wrestlers who were working on those scenes and giving them television time and giving them a bigger stage to put on these excellent work rate matches. Right. And, then NXT turned into, well, now it's a development for Vince's product of what he sees Raw and SmackDown being. So like you get the guys like Braun Breaker getting the huge push because he's big, he's bulky, he looks like a superstar, he's got the look, and they start finding these, all the tryouts and they're doing all these runs to all these cities and having people do tryouts, and they're looking for the diamonds in the rough who aren't necessarily the ones who have the wrestling experience on the circuit. They're just pure athletes. And now we're in this weird territory where now it's like, okay, you have the black and gold brand. You want those kinds of matches, but you want to do it with less experienced people. But then sometimes you take some of your people who are really good on your NXT show and you have them moonlight on Raw and SmackDown every once in a while. So you kind of water it down a little bit. They're in a really, really tricky spot going forward.
Exactly. I completely agree with you because it's like, yeah, they're getting these athletes. And while we have seen some of them, we have seen them grow.
Absolutely.
It's just that it's just that before we get to them growing, we got to sit through their not so great portions of it. We got to sit through the entire journey. And so it is a huge juxtaposition when you're seeing, great matches. Like, for example, today's show, JD and Tyler Bate. And then you're seeing other stuff on the show where you're like, oh, that's rough, so it is complicated. We had a comment here that I wanted to read from Bobby C, and I kind of just lost it. But Bobby C basically pointed out that he's curious as to where he expects to see how they treat Solo Sakoa in the coming weeks. And that's going to be interesting too, because to be honest, I kind of feel like I get the whole bloodline thing. That's obviously the whole reason why he was a part of Clash at the Castle. But prior to this, they weren't even doing that much with Solo Sakoa on the NXT 2.0 roster. So I kind of feel like I have to make this big leap of like now seeing this guy in a different light when we hadn't even seen anything really, just a couple of okay matches on NXT 2.0. So I am curious to see what they're going to be doing with Solo Sakoa on the main roster, especially given that they had him literally defend the NXT North American Championship against Madcap Moss. And then now all of a sudden it's like, well, brother, that didn't mean anything. You're telling me I sat through Solo Sakoa versus Madcap Moss for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, nothing. That didn't mean anything. They had already taped what was going to happen too. He bought a NXT North America title in the WWE shop, and he brought it to SmackDown. He was like, hold on, let me use this as the prop. Yeah. That's the other thing too. It's like, okay, now you're in the bloodline. And like, I wish I could just join a group like that and all of a sudden just be good at everything again. And just come from zero momentum to all of a sudden like, oh, I'm now with this group. Great. I can destroy the world. I'm going to do anything and everything that I want. And then to just completely go backwards on that.
Yeah.
I mean, just if you're going to go with it, go with it. Like, that's fine. Like, just trust yourself, like trust your direction, or do this, I guess. I don't know, Denise. I don't know. I'm trying to justify it, and I just can't.
Stuff that don't make sense, and we'll talk about that. Trust me. We got a comment here from Zeno Alvarez says you can't ignore the influx of NXT UK talent. That's like getting a wave of indie talent. Honestly, it's a lot of the NXT UK talent that has added so much to this show. We definitely cannot ignore that. And let's go ahead. We got some more comments in here. And this is, I wanted to pull up another one. This one's from Bobby, who says, I think we're not only seeing a reboot of the NXT visuals, but might also be a chance to reboot a bunch of characters and stories. And the reboot might be what Denise is expecting now. Look, in terms of like, obviously, we know we're not really going to get this reboot until they're done with the taped episodes and we get like the actual, the new live versions of NXT. But it's like, I would like to see a reboot of these characters, and I would like to see it to be, I don't want it to be so much like early development, like early developmental talent on the show. I would like to see more of maybe a little bit more established people with a little bit more experience, whether that be, if they get some like independent wrestling talent on the show, or if they, get people from NXT UK, whatever. But I would like it to be a little bit not so, rudimentary, so beginner's level, because it is hard to get through sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and continue on. We're going to go ahead and get into the first match of the night, and this was Nathan Frazer versus Axiom. They've been doing a best 2 out of 3 falls matches, and basically like this whole thing, I did, their first match I wasn't too crazy about. So I'll start off by saying that I thought their second match definitely was a lot better. They had some fun moments here. I thought that Frazer had a really nice superplex that stood out to me. And I thought like his finish was really great. Strong finish. I really enjoyed it. They're tied 1-on-1 now. And I mean, for the most part, this is harmless. I think this is in terms of like what we've been seeing on NXT 2.0. This is definitely, I would say, like not super bottom, but not super, to me it's still not like super great in terms of like
are you suggesting based on what we may have seen later in the show? Is that what you're
exactly.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I thought
it's mid. There you go.
Yeah,
it's
mid. There you go. Trending mid. No, I thought the super kick stood out to me. I thought Axiom took one heck of a kick to the face. See that? I don't know if he was supposed to take that much, but it looked good.
It did look good, and it was good too, because everybody thought like, I thought that was over actually after that.
Yeah.
I thought it was over.
Yeah, I was like, you don't need another move. You're good. It's fine. Just take your win and go home. Just save the rest of your moves for the next match, because you're gonna have another one. Yeah, I agree. Totally, very like harmless, like just good action, good fun, good match to open it up. Something to get the crowd going a little bit.
Are you a fan of these guys? Who are you a fan of? Nathan, Axiom?
Axiom's okay. I think still TBD. I think on a lot of that stuff. I think.
See, I like Nathan. I like Nathan Frazer. I like his in-ring stuff, like for the most part. I actually would like to see a different look, though. The look's what's not clicking with me. I don't know what it is. It's just too like ordinary.
And it's like he kind of has like the long hair kind of gives him the look of another tag team that's got the championships right now. So it's like you want to separate yourself from that and kind of get your own identity. I think there's some character work that I think needs to be done there for sure.
Exactly. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on from here, and let's get into Damon Kemp, because Damon Kemp basically he has a little promo video, and he's talking about how he cost the Creed brothers the title. He talks about the incident that sent Roderick Strong to the hospital, and then he basically says that he wants to fight both Creed brothers, just not at the same time. He wants to fight them 1-on-1, and then later on, it was announced that he is going to be facing Brutus Creed on next week's show. So first and foremost, Cole, what would you say is your interest level in the whole story with the Diamond Mine?
I know where you're going with this, Denise, because I know where you stand. I know where you stand on the Diamond Mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forget you watch this show.
But that's okay. I mean, I do agree with you. I think there's
you're allowed to have your own opinion, Cole. I'm not going to bully you into having the same opinion as me.
Believe me, I know. As long as I just don't get muted or anything, then we're okay. But no, I think I really do. I really like the Creed brothers. I want to put that out there. I think their matches, like anytime they get put in the ring, it's great, especially Julius. He's awesome. But I think it was. They've just run the tires out on this whole faction. Like there's no story really left to tell with them at this point. I feel like them kind of being together, like all the members that are still, in the collective, as far as Dynamite is concerned, it kind of holds them back at some point. Cause it's like, there's always this like story of like, well, we're a team, we're all supposed to work together. And like that plays into the other matches, just like with Ivy Nile. But I think the Creed brothers are good to kind of be on their own and do their own thing. So I'm kind of hoping that the stuff with Damon Kemp is a way to wrap this up and kind of move on. I think Roderick Strong needs something new to do. I think.
Oh yeah, he got really annoying in the storyline.
He got really annoying, and probably him being off TV.
Bad.
Yeah, him being, and like that's the thing. It's like we love Roderick Strong.
Yeah,
like,
I do. I love Roderick Strong, but I couldn't stand him anymore in this story. And that's obviously what it's supposed to be. So he's technically doing a good job of it, but it was to the point where I'm like, nah, I don't even want to pay attention to this.
Yeah, I think like, and he is in that vein of being one of those experienced performers that can really like help the younger talent get better and put on good matches to make that NXT brand strong and individual. I think just let's have Kemp work through it with the Creed brothers. Let's get it over with. Let's get it done. I love that we have a promo of him being like, I want to beat you guys up. I want to take you both down. But not at the same time. just can you do it one at a time? Can you just stand in a line, please? Just one at a time. I can't do but I'm tough. I can beat you both. I know I can't, but just like
he even pulled out it's not fair. It's not fair to do 2-on-1. Okay, I'm like, all right, Damon, we get it. I actually like Damon Kemp. I'll be real with you. I like Damon Kemp.
He's got a great point. I mean, 2-on-1 is unfair. It is a mathematical disadvantage. He's not wrong, but it always just comes. It's like, you don't need to say that. Just have the booking tell you that that's going to be the case. Like, that's okay.
We got some funny comments up in here. We got Zeno Hour who says Damon Kemp is a hater. Bobby C says Damon Kemp will be better than his brother. Seems to have a good passion for this. Well, we've been seeing him more than his brother, who's technically supposed to be part of the Raw roster. And the only thing we've seen from Gable Stevenson, when did he show up? He showed up.
Goodness.
Remember when he was wearing that one shirt?
Oh gosh,
that's all I remember from Gable Stevenson. The time he came out on Raw wearing that one shirt that like everybody was talking about. I forgot why. It was like a really weird shirt.
Yeah, I feel like he was announced.
I remember this.
He was announced at WrestleMania and with Stephanie McMahon out there, and he got a huge ovation. And he gone. Like we have not. Where has he been? I don't know.
Christopher says Damon Kemp should be in a tag team with his brother Gable Stevenson, except that we never see him. I don't even know. Like, I think oh my God, I forget what he's doing, but obviously he's not, 24/7 in on WWE, we're seeing more so of his brother. All right. And thank you. Everyone's saying that it was, they believe it was Raw after Mania, possibly, where they did the whole thing. I'm pretty sure like it's somewhere out there.
That makes sense. Sure I think that is also the last time. That's the last time we would have seen him.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam Lees, pointing out that he's still at the University of Minnesota. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, so it seems like he wants to get all his ducks in a row before he gets, goes in, all into WWE. But I just really hate that they made this whole like, oh, he's part of Raw, and yet we never saw him. Like, I feel like it was just done so prematurely just to get a little reaction, that to the point where now it's like, well, why'd you do that? Now you just set up Gable Stevenson to not be liked by the people, because if you say, oh, he's part of Raw and he's going to be on the show, people are going to expect that. And then if he's not, people are going to be like, oh, dude, well, this guy was supposed to be part of Raw a long time ago, and we don't even seen him. Like, it doesn't set him up very well, And
that's the tricky part too, of like he comes with extreme credibility. Like his collegiate wrestling career is he's incredible.
Gold medalist.
He's collegiate. He's got the U.S. gold. Like he's got all the things that make him a incredible professional wrestler. But yeah, if this was going to be the case, that they were going to delay him kind of coming in and being a regular part of the program. I mean, you bring a guy out with Stephanie McMahon and go like, this guy is like, this is kind of your crowning, like, this is the future of WWE. and then poof, he's gone.
Exactly.
And who knows if plans were different with a different leader leading the regime. If not for the change in creative, who knows if things were going to be different? That's speculation, but I mean, it sounds like if someone said the comments, like if he's finishing up school, that's that Big Ten education. If that's what he's doing, then like more power to him. And hopefully whenever we do see him, that this does work out, because we just have yet to see him do anything in a ring.
Exactly. Also, we do have a couple people in the chat who are asking how they can donate to this show. If you do want to send in a super chat, in the chat section, there is like a little $sign. And if you do send in a super chat, I will make sure to read your comment. And then on top of that, it just helps support the show. So thank you very much if you're asking, and hopefully you can figure that out all on YouTube's end. All right, so let's go ahead and move on from this. Let's get into Toxic Attraction. So we ended up getting, first and foremost, we got a promo from Alba Fire, and she's basically saying she wants to burn Mandy Rose's empire to the ground. And obviously Mandy Rose is definitely bothered by this, but this all afterwards, this segues into a tag team match in which we get Toxic Attraction, Gigi and JC Jane against Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. So this was, for the most part, I thought like an okay tag team match. Like, I actually thought Tatum was pretty impressive during this. She was, pretty much in there the majority of the time until she finally got the tag in to Ivy Nile. Ivy Nile came in there and she wasn't in there very often, but she had a pretty explosive moment when she hit all of those like combo of strikes, which was really great. In the end, we do see Toxic Attraction get the win. But Cole, what is your opinion on Toxic Attraction? Do you think that Mandy Rose is like her date as champion is already expired? What are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Boy, it's a complicated question, because it kind of depends on how you feel about Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction being more featured on the main roster. This is where I kind of feel like Toxic Attraction is stuck right now, because they're a really good tag team. I really like Toxic Attraction. They're awesome. I really like JC Jane's, like, anytime that she's talking smack in the ring and like all that stuff gets picked up by the microphone, I think she's hilarious. She's great. But they're really good. They're caught in between, though, where like they get put on the Smackdown brand and like they get rostered as Smackdown on some of these shows, and like people are going like, oh, is this when they go up? And then it's like, well, they should all three go up together. And then it's, well, no, Toxic Attraction can live by itself and Mandy Rose can still do her thing in NXT, or reverse, Mandy Rose can go. They're stuck. This is like the NXT problem we talked about earlier. They are like, I would go circle Exhibit A. This is your problem right here. You've got to figure out where, like, do you have the courage enough to put them up there and have them be doing something, which is kind of tough because there's another heel team that is in the women's division that's kind of taking over Raw. So are you going to do that the same? Are you going to have two heel groups going at the same time? I don't know. It makes the Damage Control threw off their timing for me, because otherwise I would have told you Mandy Rose, Toxic Attraction, they are that group to do it. As far as Mandy Rose and her championship reign, I think it's difficult. I worry about where she can be used on the main roster. I think there's a really specific spot where I think she could have a really good program with Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan could use that heel that kind of that matches up with her a little bit better, rather than her kind of going through Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler right now. It's not quite doing it for me. And I think NXT has done wonders for Mandy Rose. I think her promo work has gotten a whole lot better. I think this character is really working for her. Her in-ring work has gotten a lot better too. She's going to be able to find a home on the main roster. I think this could be a good chance to pull the trigger if they want to send all three up. I think if they want to have Alba Fire holding that belt, because I think Alba Fire could be a really good person to be holding that championship belt and give you an idea of what the NXT brand is all about as far as having a really strong women's division down there. I think Alba Fire has proven time and time again, that she can bring it, and she's worthy of holding the championship and being the champion of that division. So I think this could be a good moment to do it, But again, I don't know. I'm also just I'm kind of hesitant. I'm also kind of in that. I don't know. I want it to happen.
In limbo, don't you think? Like it feels like, because it's like, yeah, like toxic attraction has been such a main focus of NXT 2.0 that ripping them out of the show and putting them all in the main roster and then no longer appearing on NXT 2.0, there is going to be something missing in that women's division just because they were such a big part of that. And I almost feel like they don't really have enough. Like it's not that they don't have enough, but they haven't built up any other girls to really take that spot. Like there's nobody really to replace them in terms of what they bring to NXT 2.0. So I do feel like they're needed there, but they're also at the point where it's like, yeah, they should be on the main roster, but I want to see them on the main roster all together. It looks really silly to only have Gigi and JC on the main roster and then not Mandy Rose. It does look very silly. And I do think that Alba Fire is probably going to be the person to take the title off of Mandy Rose. That feels like the most plausible, especially if they want to have Mandy and Toxic Attraction over to the main roster. I personally would want that because they're on SmackDown, right? They've been coming out on SmackDown. So they would be on SmackDown. So they could do like the full, Toxic Attraction, the girl group thing. Like you don't just have to have one just because you already have Damage Control over on Raw doesn't mean you can have Toxic Attraction over on SmackDown. I actually like that because I would love to see, both of them kind of do their own thing on their respective brands, right? So personally, I'm a fan of what they're could be doing with Toxic Attraction because I feel like their time in NXT 2.0, like a lot of other people, has pretty much already expired. And let's go ahead and see what we got here. This is a comment from Bobby who says Nikki, Dewdrop, Sonya, and Lacey all would benefit from more ring time in NXT. And we have been seeing Nikki and Dewdrop show up on NXT. And we've also, Lacey could be another one that if she were to go and have a couple of matches down there on NXT, I think would be pretty damn good actually. But let's see what else we got. This is from Justin who says maybe they all move up as a trip after Mandy loses the NXT title. As a trio after Mandy loses the NXT title, whenever that may be. Seems like that's the one thing delaying it. Yeah, it does pretty much seem that way. So hopefully, because if not, it will just be weird. It will just be weird.
The gimmick doesn't it's not complete without Mandy Rose. And also as far as you're showing Toxic Attraction to a SmackDown Raw audience, there's going to be a lot of people in there who maybe aren't watching NXT and don't really know what they're all about, but they're going to know who Mandy Rose is. They've seen Mandy Rose. So I think having that connection there too helps their characters a lot. And just as a total package, they've defined the women's division of NXT 2.0 I should say of NXT 2.0 because it's not 2.0 anymore. so they really were when you think of what was the women's division is Toxic Attraction 100%.
Yeah, it's funny. We don't know what to call it anymore. All right.
I know.
They need to make it clear. They need to make it very clear. But after this, we got we got the Schism. And they're out there cutting a promo about the Schism tree. And the CWC is yelling, shut the hell up. They're telling us if you join the Schism, you will be held so tight. You will be held so tight. We want to make the world a better place. And now that I think about it, I might want to join the Schism. Think about it. Don't you want a hug, Cole? Don't you want to be part of something that's going to make the world a better place?
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Question. This is how people get into cults, by the way.
That's true. This should come with it should have come with a toll-free number after the end of their promo. I thought you were going to say a warning. No, it should just be do you want to join the Schism? Call now to 1-800-745. Just give us.
They should do that.
Yeah, I guess that's.
I want to.
I guess that's a little bit Dark Order, but they kind of need it. So I'm just saying,
At
Joe
this
Gacy.
point,
I guess Joe Gacy, give me a call if you need it.
Okay, so after this, they end up going Idris. I was gonna say, I always want to say Idris Elba, all the damn time. But we get Idris Nofe and Malik Blade. They come out, they run in, and this all leads to the Dyad versus Idris and Malik. And this is a fine little matchup that they had here. The Dyad ends up getting the win. Later on in the night, obviously, the Dyad the Schism have been wanting to get Cameron Grimes to be part of their, stable. And later on, we did have a promo from Cameron Grimes where he basically says, like, nah, I'm going to cut down the schism tree. And I think he said he's going to use it to build a rocket, or I don't know what he said he was going to build. And he's going to go to the moon.
Part of the ship to the moon. Yeah.
Thank you. That's what it was. I'm like, he's going to get to the moon somehow, whatever.
Always trying to get to the moon.
What are your thoughts on the schism, and how do you feel?
Oh God, it's not. It is not, just like you. It is not doing it for me at all. It's weird. The weird supernatural groups in WWE television are not doing it for me, because you've got Judgment Day on the main roster. They're not doing it for me. This is not doing it for me either. It's really hard to have this kind of like weird,
I don't think
like
Judgment Day is supernatural though. They're just gothic.
Okay, you're right. I think it started out more as that, and
it started out as supernatural, and but now they kind of steered away from that.
But that's kind of the problem, right? Because they were kind of supernatural, and then they kept losing. So like everyone was just like, "No, you guys like."
And then the dyad, the schism, whatever you were calling them.
Also, they got two names. That's a problem.
They went from political to like, what did you say? Oh my God, I'm blanking on the word.
Like I was just saying cult.
No, like they went from like political to like cultish to like it's like sci-fi-ish. We were just talking about it. What was that word that we were just using? Sorry, I'm on a lot of cough medicine. I'm not sure.
Sci-fi going. I was like, I know we talked about going to the moon.
There was something, and I just go, supernatural. There you go. Supernatural.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what is the word? I couldn't remember it. I don't know how to tell you this, but I've been taking a lot of cough syrup, and it's clearly gone to my head. Okay,
she's under the influence of cough medicine.
They went from political to like cult to supernatural, back to mystical. I don't even know what the hell the schism is.
I don't know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's been a lot that's been happening. Okay. Anyways, what were you saying?
The thing is like none of it's worked for them, right? Like, and like by that I mean like whatever goal they've tried to achieve. Like Joe Gacy's lost a match. The Dyad's lost a match. Like it's not like whatever their plans and schemes are. What's really tough about those groups is if those plans and schemes don't show a track record of working, it's really hard to take them seriously and like take them as like a true group with like actual like intent. So like when they spew all the bull crap about like, we want you all to live under the tree of life, and we love everybody, everyone. I mean, you heard like that crowd. That didn't feel like good heat to me. That didn't feel like good heat from the crowd.
They haven't gotten good heat since the very beginning.
No, it's not. I don't think it's working. I don't know what they got to do. It's not working. But this was our trend of the night of people doing promos and then people just running in, being like, "You want to fight?" And then a ref just running right in, coming in.
That is true. That is true. Where do you think they're going with this, Cameron Grimes? Do you think he'll eventually join?
Oh God, I hope not.
Maybe they'll make him. Okay, here's my fantasy booking of this. Okay,
got you.
Since we're talking about supernaturals and stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So Cameron Grimes does not want to join the schism, right?
Sure.
Okay. So then Joe Gacy gets really mad, and he's like, "Well, you know what? Screw you." And then he does something, and then Cameron Grimes just disappears, and then Joe Gacy looks at the camera and he goes, "He's gone to." I don't know, some schism tree. I don't know. You could come up with something weird, right? Okay, and then we never see Cameron Grimes on NXT 2.0 again.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks go by, or 3 weeks. Hell, you know what? Even a month. And then out of nowhere, he pops up on Raw and SmackDown.
What if Joe Gacy's gimmick is he's the portal to get on the main roster? What if that's it?
There you go.
What if Joe Gacy is the gatekeeper? What if Joe Gacy's like, "Do you want to go to Raw and SmackDown? You're going to have to get through the schism." Brilliant. Why don't
you see? There you go.
Sean, call us. It was called Denise. It was Denise. It was Denise's idea. But I like where you're going with it. I see the future. Develop this. Let's go. I hope I need Cameron Grimes on the roster.
Such a shitty. It's funny that it's a shitty idea. But you know what? In this NXT 2.0 universe, it would work, and it wouldn't even be one of like the worst ideas.
Nothing shitty about that. I think that's great. I think it's brilliant. Why not? Hey, it gives them a purpose, and you know what? They could be really good at it.
There you go.
Like, Grimes could just go right to the main roster. Boom.
All right, and Viking T says he'll need time to grow his chest hair back. Bobby says if it gets Grimes to the main roster, I'm all here for it. Hey man, I'm just trying to find ways to get Cameron Grimes to the dang main roster. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all. I don't care how they do it at this point. Ship them in a package. I don't know. Anything. All right. After this, we got Wendy Chu versus Cora Jade. Cora Jade, for the most part, gets a quick victory after she hits the DDT on Wendy Chu. And then Lash Legend comes out and gets Wendy Chu with a boot to the face.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not really on board with the Lash Legend character.
No, me
I feel
neither.
like they're really trying to make it work, but it's not really working for me. Where are you at on all of this?
No, the Lash Legend part was definitely like when that happened, I was like, oh, that's not what I want to see Wendy Chu do. Because I am a big Wendy Chu fan. I think
you
Wendy
really?
Chu, yes. Now here's the deal. It's not necessarily about the character that Wendy Chu plays. I think it's more for the performer of Wendy Chu, because the way that she's been able to take a character that I feel like anyone else could have been doing that character, and it would have been such a terrible idea, and it would have been such a bad execution, and like we would have never wanted to see it on our televisions again. The fact that she was able to take that character, make it work, and make it something where like whenever I see her, like the character's intent of like putting a smile on my face, I smile every time I see Wendy Chu on screen. Like her character and like her work with it makes me happy that like she's been able to make this idea that could be really terrible and really cringe on paper really work. I thought the stuff with Tiffany Stratton was awesome. I mean, how brutal can you get when you pour Legos on the ring? I mean, we've seen thumbtacks, Lego. I mean,
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
So yeah, I think I feel like her doing a program with Lash Legend is a step backwards, but I also don't really know what the future kind of holds for Wendy Chu's character. At some point, like I don't see Wendy Chu's character be on the main roster, right? So like she would have to change it up, but I think she's an amazing performer. Cora Jade's it. Cora Jade's got it. That's what I think.
Does. Yeah, she definitely has. Steven sends in a comment saying, does Wendy get a character change for the new NXT? I don't know. It would have to. I think this. It's hard to say because we first have to see how different the new NXT is, and something tells me that it's not going to be that different. So I think that the character still could work, and that's the thing. Like the character does work to a certain extent, right? Because she comes out there, she's all cutesy and this and that, but when she gets into the ring, she's physical and she means business, But if they have her just going out there and getting a boot from Lash Legend, it's like, oh well. We have to make sure to position her in a way where it's like, yeah, she's cute and all, but we know that she's going to kick ass when she's in the ring, right? Like the character, like, don't be fooled. They should make it more as like, do not be fooled by Wendy Chu, by her presence, by her cheeky presence, because she will literally like, they need to give her like a villain side where like she gets into the ring and all of a sudden she just like becomes like the evil bratty girl or something. I don't know. They could come up with something to just give her a little bit more so that people could take her a little bit seriously. Because with that character, it's easy for people to not take her seriously. So that's what they need to do. Just a constant reminder there to take her seriously. So I don't know if they get rid, because I do like the Wendy Chu character. Honestly, I do. And all right, so let's go ahead and move on, because after this, we got Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward. So here we go. This is where it gets a little funky. All right. First of all, this match was like really nothing special. And it ended with Andre Chase getting the win for his team by pinning Carmelo Hayes. They made it like a fluke type of thing, but still, I was so like irritated by this because Carmelo Hayes is a former 2-time NXT North American champion. If I just did like a year-end review show with Post Wrestling, and the person that I voted for like literally the best character, like the person that I've been such a big fan of for the show, it was Carmelo Hayes. Okay, he's literally the guy that I think that like he's good, man. He's good. Okay, he's got the promo down, he's got the ring stuff down, he's good. And Then we did this whole thing that we talked about earlier today with, Shawn Michaels and the NXT North American Championship being stripped and how it was basically pretty much pointless. So not only does he get stripped off the title and it doesn't Carmelo Hayes loses last week and loses the title, and then it doesn't even mean anything a week later. And now, he's supposed to be in this fatal 5-way ladder match at Halloween Havoc in 6 weeks. And what do? You have him be the one to take the pin via Andre Chase. Now, I know here that a lot of people like Chase U, Andre Chase, Chase University, teachable moment. I'm not a fan. Realistically, I'm not a fan, okay? There's been some ha-ha moments, sure. But am I a fan? Not really. So personally, I was just thinking, like, why would you do this? Why? On a night where Carmelo, just following the fact that he just lost the title. Why?
I have no answer for you, by the way. I can't, because that's exactly what I asked too. I couldn't what a couple of weeks for Carmelo Hayes. He's the best performer, in my opinion, in the entire brand. Like, as far as NXT goes, what purpose does this serve? It's not like he was like, it's not even like they put it up to like a story reason of like, oh, he's focused on the ladder match that's going to happen. He's looking ahead, right? There's nothing. It's just he got caught by the Chase U guy. Like, that's what we witnessed. It wasn't, and it was a tag match too. There's no reason Trick couldn't take the pin and do it the same way. Like, that would have been better. I still wouldn't have liked it, but it would have been better. Why is Carmelo Hayes eating pins right now? I
don't know, but
what are we doing?
Great
Denise?
Reactions to this, though.
What are we doing? Like,
Ashton says, I threw my TV out the window when I saw Carmelo get pinned. Fernando says, I don't like having Carmelo losing 2 weeks in a row. Steven says, I could see Carmelo next week dominating Andre Chase to get the heat back. Eddie says Andre Chase is going to be in the ladder match. Man, this really bumps me out, man. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I hate to say it, but I can't take Andre Chase seriously. I can't. I really can't. And then to see him, basically get the pin over one of the most promising guys on the brand, when we're supposed to be supposedly morphing into the new NXT that is supposed to be more reminiscent of the old NXT.
You're telling me the guy who went against Ricochet just a few weeks prior is losing to Andre Chase via sneaky pinfalls.
Exactly.
No.
I agree with Ashton, who says that Carmelo better get his momentum back.
I hope so too.
I do too, man. Like, come on now. Sanga versus Von Wagner. Dude, can I be honest with you? I didn't even want to watch this match.
Me neither.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's very, very hard for me.
The announcers were having a hard time, bringing us to go this is why it's happening. Like, they were literally like, it's because Von Wagner swore in front of a lady, and that was the hook. And I was like, oh yeah, that's okay. This is where we're at.
I want to give everybody a fair chance.
Of course.
All right, Cole. I want to give everybody a fair chance, okay? And if I, there's been times where I haven't liked a character or a performer or whatever. And then, in a couple of weeks, I'm like, I changed my mind about this person. I'm a fan now, Or maybe I wasn't that big of a fan, but there's other things that, are working here. I don't get the Von Wagner thing. I feel so bad. I don't want to be shitty, but I just don't see it. I do not see whatever it was that Vince McMahon saw besides the body. Okay.
I was going to say, I can tell you what he did see.
Okay. Besides the body. Okay, fine. But it's so bad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but this was not and that's the thing. I like Sanga. I don't know what it is about Sanga. He seems to have a likable personality. He just has a likable personality, right? I'd be friends with Sanga. Really, I would. But this match, I couldn't get into it. It was very, very hard. Sanga essentially gets distracted by Robert Stone. He tries to give him a choke slam. This allows Von Wagner to basically get the win here. I didn't pay attention to this that much.
It just felt like one of those matches when like two big dudes like aren't really involved in a story. They just go like, "Hey, let's do the thing where the big guy lifts the big guy,
No.
and it'll look cool."
Can I
Sweet.
be honest? Okay,
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
and this is for the viewers watching too, and this is gonna sound terrible, okay? But have you ever been driving and then you're driving, right? And then all of it, you're thinking about things, whatever, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, how did I even get here? I don't even remember the last 2 minutes of this car drive. What the hell? That is exactly what this Sanga Von Wagner match was. Like, I was watching, I was driving, but like, I don't remember how I got here.
Yeah, you're just like, did I close the refrigerator door? Did I make sure I locked the door? Wait, where am I? Oh, what's going? Oh, NXT. NXT's happening. Sorry, big guy win. Okay, let me write that. Yeah, no. I mean, it's those matches happen. Like that is just the nature of the beast. And like when sometimes like you have a show and we got to get to 2 hours somehow, Denise. We had to get there. We needed this match in there. We need to see a big guy lift a big guy.
Exactly.
That's about all you can say about that.
We got some jokes in here. Zeno Hour says, "You leave Vaughn to go alone." All right. Justin Martin says, "How do you put a positive spin on a matchup of the two least interesting big men on the roster?" My positive spin was honestly that I like Sanga.
Song's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
I'd wave
He
hello
seems
to
like
him.
it. I don't know the guy. He could be like the meanest guy ever. I don't know.
I'd like to
I've never
shake
met
his
him.
hand. He seems like a nice, upstanding dude.
Oh my God. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from here. After this, we got Wesley basically saying he wants to be part of the NXT North American title match qualifier. They haven't been doing too great with Wesley recently, ever since the breakup of MSK. We've covered this tremendously on this podcast, but I'm like, obviously he has to be part of this. But the fact that they could have literally just had Carmelo Hayes, Wesley, like we were supposed to, and just have Carmelo win, and that's it. We never had to go through this Solo Sakoa stuff.
Which is also interesting because it seemed like there was a part of his promo here where he was like told he was offered like a free shot or something like that, and he was like, "No, I want to earn it in this ladder match instead."
What?
Why? Wait, Wes.
Wait, because it's a qualifier, right? He's supposed to be in a qualifier. Did they announce the qualifier?
There was some weird, and maybe chat might have to back me up on this, but there was some weird language in there, and I feel like I saw it on Twitter too, where like they were like, "Wait, Wesley, why were you were like offered a chance to like go like to like just go try to get your belt back against Carmelo Hayes, and instead you were like, no, I'm gonna earn it in this ladder match." It's like the classic case of like
he said he just wanted to like have an opportunity to like.
I don't know. Yeah.
So he wanted to be in the qualifier.
Maybe it was like he earned a free shot to be in the ladder match, and like he decided to elect for the qualifying match to get in. I don't know. There were some weird parts of the language. I'd have to go watch it again. But other people were scratching their heads.
Don't do that to yourself.
I won't do that.
Do not do that to yourself.
I'm just for the sake of the show, Denise. No, but I think it's like classic like babyface booking of like, hey, let's like, no, like we've really got to like overstep. Like he's really got to take that extra step to convince us that we like him. It's like just like don't tell us that either, because then it just makes us already sound like we know he's going to lose like at some point. Like he's destined not to win, and it's like just give him a chance. This could be a good a ladder match with a bunch of people, and it could be really good for Wesley. So,
and we did get a qualifying match today, and it was Grayson Waller against Oro Mensah. Sorry.
Yeah.
And I have an inside joke, but I'm not going to make my joke today. I already made it last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you missed it.
You'll have to tell you have to tell me later.
I'll have to tell you later. All right. So anyways, we got Oro Mensah against Grayson Waller. He comes out and he's talking about his name and how he's from Ghana, the country of gold. And he ends up getting this match. I mean, obviously the second they said this was going to be a qualifying match, we all knew that he was going to win. He wasn't going to be losing in his debut. So it's pretty straightforward. He gets the win after Apollo Crews comes out with a bloody eye. It looked disgusting, by the way. Very disgusting. He just had like the one crybaby eye, but instead of the teardrop, he had the blood. And so he basically distracted Grayson Waller by looking like ugly with the bloody eye. And so this allowed Oro Mensah to get the win, and he qualifies. So now he's part of this Fatal 5-Way ladder match that is going to include Carmelo Hayes, that we know of already, and also Oro Mensah.
Denise, I have a question for you. I know you are a fan of violence in wrestling.
I am.
That's great. We love violence. That's awesome. Where does the line go for bleeding from the eyeball? Is that too much?
I don't like it. It's too much. I love blood, and I'm very into all of that. I watch a lot of GCW, and I've
Death
seen a lot of stuff.
matches.
I'm all
That's
into
real-
that. Like, I'm so here for that, man. Like, I was actually like booing when I saw Triple H's quote about not wanting to do blood. I was like, damn, right? Because I love that stuff. But the eyeball, the
Yeah.
blood on the eyeball.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
so
don't
much
like
to so much to
It's too
unpack with
much.
Triple H not liking blood, because
right.
it's like
To me, that's
like
more gory, isn't it?
trips. Your best matches were all you bleeding, dude. Like, come on, man.
But
You
isn't
know
it
it.
more gory to have just the blood coming out from the eye with the bloodshot eye?
Especially because he was like, he kind of had that like creepy half smile, which is like,
To me, that was more creepy than like seeing a guy just like get cut or something.
yeah, no, it was I think the word you're looking for is unsettling, is what it felt like. It just like it did not sit right.
AU says there's going to be an eye for an eye match.
No, we don't need
thought
any
about
more
it.
of those.
I
We
thought
don't need
about
any
it.
more of
It
those.
crossed my mind. When I saw him with the bloody eye, I was like, oh my God, eye for an eye match. I'm not going to lie, it crossed my mind.
Careful. They have time to book this. They may do it for Halloween.
All right. We also got an announcement that Sol Rucka is coming next week. Apparently a fellow Californian. So I have to root for a fellow Californian. Her real name is, I don't know how to pronounce her real name, actually. It's spelled Calyx. Calix? Hampton? Calix?
Alex Collix? I'm not sure.
It's Calyx. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like you're on the right track.
Okay, well, that's what her name is. So she's Calix Hampton. She's apparently from Ontario, California. She's California. Apparently, I can't say California anymore. She's a former acrobatic and tumbling team athlete from the University of Oregon. She's only apparently 22 years old. So yeah, jealous. And she joined the WWE PC this past March. So now she's officially making her NXT debut. She did come out in a few NXT house shows already, and apparently she made her in-ring debut earlier this year at about June. So she's been like, getting her reps in and whatnot, but she's still fairly new from the most part, from what we can tell here. So anyways, she's doing like the beach girl, I'm in tune with the ocean type of thing. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm a California girl.
I was really excited to ask you actually about this promo, because I was like, how targeted did you feel by this promo of like, really LA? You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. This is a big, big stereotype, okay? So a lot of people assume that if you're from Southern California, if you're from California, that you're pretty much a beach bum, right? I will tell you that people that have lived here in California their whole lives, especially if they're not living by the beach, they go to the beach like once a year, tops twice in the summer, okay? So we're not like all just laying out in the beach, But if you are living by the beach, then obviously you go a little bit more. But like, we got lives here. We're not out at the beach. But the point is that, you know what? I felt the connection, representation right there. Okay, I'm gonna take it.
All her moves, like all her finishing maneuvers and all that stuff, should be all named after the highways in LA.
So, oh my gosh, she should be like the 5.
Here comes the 485, dude. Like, let's really lean into it. Yeah, oh my God, the 105 from nowhere. Like, just let's go. Like, let's really like get knee deep in the weeds here and just.
It's also interesting, and maybe people here in the chat can chime in on this because, and Cole, you've lived in all parts of the world, right? So have you noticed, and I saw this in a meme once, and then I started noticing it, that people tend to call people from other places call freeways like, for example, like the I-10, the I-5, whatever your interstate is, people say the I-5, the I-10, whatever. In LA, everybody says the 101, the 5. We don't say like I-5. We don't say like I-10. We say the 10, the 101, the 405.
Hmm.
Have you noticed that?
No, I haven't noticed that. But now that you mention it, yeah, that's totally what happens. Like, so like I lived out east. I-80 was a big highway out there because it went through like Pennsylvania, New York, all those. So like, yeah, I wouldn't call it the 80 or the I-80. It would just be
What
I-80.
would you call it?
I-80. Just
See, that's weird to me. That's so weird. I
but
would
like,
call it the 80.
I mean, it's like those roads are so synonymous with LA now, and LA traffic is such a thing that like I think they do need the designation because there just really aren't any highways quite like that, as I am now experiencing, now being a Los Angeles local. Yeah, those highways are they're not kidding, folks. They're not kidding.
They certainly are not. All right. Well, let's go ahead and continue on from here because after this, actually, before we get into the main event, really quickly, let's talk about the matches that were announced for next week. We got Cameron Grimes versus Joe Gacy next week. We also have the Pub Rules match, which is going to be Gallus versus Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. We're also going to be having Brutus Creed versus Damon Kemp. And do you remember who they said Nikita's facing? Because she's also having a match, but I didn't catch who her opponent was.
I didn't catch Nikita. I think
she's having a match, but I forget against who.
I know is Mandy Rose going against not Alba Fire, but who's
see that one? Did they announce it in the corner?
I think it was Mandy was talking about it after like the promo. Henley. That's who she's going against.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's for next week.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Versus Fallon Henley. Thank you to Joseph for calling that. I missed that one. Shit. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this main event because this legitimately was the best part of the entire show. 2 thumbs up. This was Tyler Bate versus JD McDonagh to determine the new #1 contender for Braun Breaker. And this was freaking awesome. I don't know what to tell you, man. There was some really great stuff in here. Some really good like sequences between both of those guys. Like some of my favorite part was when JD turned a clothesline into a Spanish fly. That was freaking phenomenal. The head, I'm a sucker for a headbutt, man. I will tell you, I will mark the hell out for a good headbutt.
Delivered a nasty one too. That was good contact on that one.
Yeah. So I had to write that down as one of my things that really stood out. Them doing the Spanish fly off the top rope, the 450. I mean, there was just a lot here that was really good. The crowd was really into it. The intensity was all there. And then we do see JD McDonagh hit the devil inside for the actual finish and get the win. And now we are going to be getting Braun Breaker versus JD McDonagh part 2. And we were just like soaking that in. And then out of nowhere, Ilya Dragunov returns. He returns. I'm so happy. So he comes out and he, is feeling pumped. He goes out there and he basically just like he kind of like cock blocks a little bit. He gets right in there and just stares right into the championship. And he's been out for a couple of months due to injury. Now he's back. Obviously, he had to he was a former NXT UK champion and had to vacate the championship. So clearly, he's got his eyes on the prize here. But what you think of this match, and what did you think of Ilya Dragunov returning here tonight?
Yeah, this was all the goods. After a weird episode of NXT, we sure got the goods at the end. Yeah, I thought their match was awesome. I did like the part where McDonagh he kind of got hit to the outside and he kind of was peeled back over the announce table and he just kind of looked at Braun. I thought that was some excellent work. I agree with that spot where he hit that Spanish fly from the clothesline, but then Bate actually like kind of got up and just socked him in the face right afterwards. I was like, just keep on, like, let's keep rolling the hits.
Good. Oh
yeah. The pin.
I love stuff like that. When you're like, wait, how did he get into that from there? Wait, did I just see what I just saw?
The math doesn't work. How did he do that? Oh yeah. Anytime someone gets from point A to point B in a very strange way. The pin exchange at the beginning, Tyler Bate doing the sitting front flip. Big strong boy. What can I say? Tyler Bate is so good. I was a little disappointed, especially now in hindsight, now that Dragunov is here trying to insert into the picture, because having Tyler Bate in there with Dragunov with Braun might be pretty cool. And that's nothing against JD, because obviously like he had a really great hell of a match. He earned it. Dragunov being in here, that was always like when the UK people started coming over, I feel like this was definitely on people's minds of like, okay, we don't see Dragunov yet, but like he's gotta.
So do you think we're getting a
gotta show
triple
up.
threat, or do you think they're going to do Braun, JD, and then whoever wins that match against, and I'm assuming it's going to be Braun against Ilya? Where do you think we're going with this? Or do you think we're going into a triple threat right away?
I think we're going into a triple threat right away. And I think that because I think there's definitely like the easy case for Dragunov to come in and go, hey, listen, you unified the NXT UK championship, a belt that I never lost. And I think that's the angle that they can kind of come in with to insert him into the match. Maybe they make him have another match with somebody to qualify for it. Maybe he has to go against JD McDonagh one-on-one in order to get it. Maybe something like that. I think a triple threat makes a lot of sense here. I don't, I don't know if like JD and Braun the first time around didn't really do it for me. So personally, I'm not as interested in them having a sequel match, just the two of them again. But if the two of them want to be in there and we want to throw Dragunov into the mix, I think we've got something really good cooking there.
Yeah, I think so. I prefer the three-way, honestly. And dude, let's just freaking give Ilya the championship, all right? Like, let's just give him the championship. I might riot if they don't give him the championship. I'm sorry. I'm ready for a new champion. And if you're going to have me pick anybody, it's going to be Ilya Dragunov for sure.
And you talk about like repping the NXT brand and Braun kind of being at that point where he's kind of ready to start figuring out his standing on the main roster. And you want someone who's going to be your flag bearer for NXT as like, what do you want NXT to be? This is something like that came to mind when he was going against Tyler Bate. I thought Tyler Bate was a perfect candidate to take the belt off of him, to be that kind of banner representative of the guy who's going to give you those sweet NXT matches you remember from the Black and Gold brand, taking over those weekends where there are pay-per-views and you're talking about the NXT match afterwards. Tyler Bate is that kind of guy. Dragunov in that similar vein as well. I think, these are the kinds of guys that could really usher in whatever this next era of NXT is, whatever they want to call it, whatever names they want to do. We still don't have a name for you, NXT. We'll call you when we got one. We'll let you know. But yeah, I think this would be a great opportunity to get Dragunov back into action right away.
Agreed with you 100%. We got more people saying put the title on Dragunov ASAP. And we had somebody point out that they feel that that it seems to be like they're running out of ideas for Braun Breaker. Oh, here we go. This was a comment from Joseph. It says, are they running out of ideas for Braun as champion? I kind of sense that a little bit because let's be real, like the Joe Gacy stuff wasn't too great. The Dolph Ziggler stuff to me it wasn't really needed. Let's be real. It was not needed. It was not followed up by anything great with the Joe Gacy stuff. So it does kind of feel like it's been a little bit rocky. It hasn't been like the ideal run that you would have thought given how much hype Braun Breaker had. When this whole thing first started. So it does kind of feel like they're running out of ideas for him a little bit, but everybody's been wondering, when he's officially going to be making his way to the main roster, etc. And Ashton points out that Tyler Bate can also be in the ladder match if he wants to. Hopefully, I think he'd be a great one in there. And then Zeno Hour says we're one step closer to Dragunov versus Gunther 3. And let me just say this. Okay, can I like make a dream? Can I like manifest a fantasy?
It's your show, Denise. Please take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So my fantasy is Dragunov and Gunther at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles.
Wait.
Just because I want to be there and I wanted to be on a big
stage. You're talking about the one in the backyard, just like
exactly. Like I really want it to happen. That's just my fantasy.
I'm not, sign me up. Where do I sign up? How do I get this petition?
I'm manifesting it right now. Like let the gods take it from here. Do whatever.
Sign a petition.
You need to do, but make it happen.
We'll start a GoFundMe.
We have enough time too. Okay. We have enough time.
Easy.
Alrighty. And we got a comment here from Matt Hensley who says, I genuinely keep forgetting that Braun is the NXT champion. He doesn't feel nearly as special as he used to. Yeah, because they killed him with the Dolph Ziggler stuff. Then they killed him. Then the guy was already like, he got back up, right? Like he was like, okay, I'm back. And then they were like, nah, bro, you're going back down with the Joe Gacy stuff. And now he's just kind of like, he's floating, not floating, but he's just like, he's just there.
The
just
more and
there.
more we get past like NXT Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver, I believe, was the one that was WrestleMania weekend. If I
Zeno
remember
Hour
correctly.
wants to know if my interview with Braun Breaker was better than
Oh
Braun
gosh,
Breaker on commentary. I wasn't really paying attention to him on commentary. I think
he
I
was
tuned it out.
he was fine. He wasn't like
Mhm.
sometimes when they get the wrestler on commentary, they can be too involved in the match and just be a little too obnoxious. I don't know. It didn't bother me necessarily.
Yeah, I
He
didn't even
did do a
notice it,
package,
to be
yeah,
honest.
and he did a
But I
packaged
just,
interview beforehand of so like I don't know like
yeah,
fine.
exactly. Matt Kensley says Denise to Braun's title run. Stop. He's already dead. Oh man, Ashton says, what about Ilya Dragunov versus Sheamus? Bro, throw that in there. Like night 1, you could do Ilya and Gunther. Night 2, Ilya and Sheamus. I don't complain.
Is your card just all Ilya Dragunov matches? Is it just like he
Sure,
has to
why not?
wrestle 10 times
I'll
WrestleMania night
take it.
1, wrestle 10 times night 2?
Why
All right.
not? Why not? Would you rather see Dominic versus, I don't know, Madcap Moss or something?
So where do I get the Dragunov package? Where is this?
Exactly. There you go. Alrighty, everybody. Well, that was NXT 2.0 today. Cole, thank you so much for coming in and helping me do the show, because Lord knows I would have died doing a whole 1 hour just by myself today. Like, it was not going to happen. I was doing a video earlier today for F4W, and I read one sentence and I was gassed out. I was like, I was like trying to catch my breath, like heaving and stuff. So I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. Anyways, I will be back tomorrow. I still don't know what the stream's going to look like tomorrow, but I will be back tomorrow for AEW Dynamite coverage. So please make sure that you guys come back for that. On top of that, please, Cole, let the people know where they can find you.
Sure thing. Yeah. At Coltrane on Twitter. That's where I'm usually talking about wrestling on there. And also, just as a little cheap plug, why don't you go check out the Corner Podcast at Corner Podcast _ So I'm producing that podcast over there with Andreas Hell and Kel Dansby. They talk MMA, boxing, and of course, pro wrestling. And then I occasionally jump on there and give wacky fantasy bookings. But at Coltrane is where you can find me. I'm usually tweeting if I'm watching the wrestling, not as much being on vacation here, but stick around for a good time. I like gifts. There's a lot of gifts on there. So
You're supposed to be on vacation and you're working. I love it. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. I will be back tomorrow. Please give this video a like, subscribe to F4W Online. You guys know where to find me: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, @ Denise Salcedo. Also TikTok. I'm blowing up on TikTok right now, so you can check that out too if you want. Other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Take care.